chillin', serial killing, pre-core villains on the mic, got you reeling. 5-star rated from the floor to the ceiling. If you catch a 1-star, no time for feelings. Got a demon DJ on the ones and twos, by the name Beelzebub, so don't get confused. So grab a seat by the fire, roast them all over two, and prepare to hear the legend of the Straight Chillin' Crew.
What up, nerds, and welcome to another repossessed episode of Straight Chilling, the weekly horror movie review show where you chill and we kill, slice, dice, and chop up yet another horror movie. My name is Bob. I'll be your host for the evening. This is episode 444, recorded Monday, October 9th, 2023. Tonight we are talking about the latest legacy sequel from your boy David Gordon Green. It is The Exorcist Believer. Before we get into it, let me introduce everyone else on the show. First up, calling in from Washington, D.C., we got your boy Randeezy. What's up, man?
Jive turkey.
What's up, buddy? How you doing?
That's one fucking suave demon, I guess.
I guess. Yeah, sure.
Possessed.
How we holding up? We're doing okay. I'm 2 vaccines, 1 in each arm as of yesterday. So your boy's lethargic today.
Damn. Good for you. Being healthy.
Yeah, it's oof.
I got no shots in me right now, but that's probably a good call.
That can change. I know your liquor cabinet.
Last but not least, calling in from Seoul, South Korea, we got your boy Soju. What's up, man?
Oh, what up? It's your boy, your mother dates jocks and hell stains. How's it going, boys?
Hell jocks are the worst.
Is that
kind.
a section of Pornhub?
That's a shout outs to the Simpsons right there.
Okay.
We'll get there eventually. We got about 3 years before we hit that one.
Oh my God. There's so many years.
Just wearing like a Letterman jacket and little devil horns going to town on your mom. It's out there.
Yep.
It's out there somewhere.
Jesus. All right.
Boys ready to believe?
Oh my God.
I'm a believer.
David Gordon Green once again. We just can't stop talking about this motherfucker. He's evergreen.
Woo. The world wants to talk about David.
We gotta talk about his ass.
My boy David.
Boy Dave.
David Gordon Blue. Before we get into the review, let's tackle some housekeeping real quick. Here's another reminder. We do have our November poll currently posted on our Patreon website. If you support us at the $5 level or above, you get the chance to vote on a movie we're talking about this November. The theme for November is killer food. The movies you're voting between are Ice Cream Man, Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, and The Stuff.
Whoa, Bob. Man, Rigatoni. How those numbers looking?
That should be our first horror movie that we make, Rigatoni.
I will make the Rigatoni film with you. Let's do it.
Attack of the Killer Tomatoes is coming in with about 50% of the vote. The Stuff has about 30 or 35, something like that. Ice Cream Mang's picking up the slack.
Nobody wants to talk about cream in November. That's pie season.
Tomato season, apparently.
Dude, I don't understand. Like, it's like you, Bob. Every single poll, I am inevitably wrong about what I think will
I don't know anything. This is what I've learned.
On my lowest months where I'm like, I can't pick anything. I can't think of anything good. I'll just put this in there. That's what wins for me.
By a landslide.
Yeah.
Get your votes in. You got a few weeks. Get them in before the end of October. We'll see what we're talking about this November. In other Patreon news, we're dropping a brand new mini-cast every single Friday throughout the month of October. Ooh. And we got our good friend Warren joining us for all of these mini-casts, actually. We're talking more Simpsons Treehouse of Horrors, and he is indeed the Simpsons guru. The guy you got to get on your show if you're talking about the Simpsons.
Who is it? Frankenstein? The Booger Man?
Yeah, it was good to listen to a new episode of The Simpsons. For me, it's kind of like a tradition now of us talking about it.
Every movie's a tradition to you.
Tradition.
Yeah, holy shit.
I just relived the same life over and over now. I filled every slot with tradition.
I need
Every day.
Every hour is a tradition, of course. I think that's what religion is, if I'm not mistaken.
You're a believer. A believer.
Every October 10th at 8 a.m., I have to record an episode with the boys.
It's tradition.
It pleases the gods.
Last Friday, we reviewed Treehouse 11, and then this Friday, dropping 12. Number 12.
Nice.
Get that over on our Patreon. Speaking of Patreon.
I promise.
I promise. We have not one, not two, not three, but 4 brand new Patreon subscribers.
Holy fuck.
Holy shit. We got some
People
new
getting ready for that.
Validation is washing over me at a rapid pace.
That Chilloween party, people
Heck
getting
yeah.
ready.
Getting ready.
That's right.
So we have all the shouts outs we got to deliver right here, right now. Big thanks to Mitch W., Joey, Warren E., and Downtown Julie for signing up on Patreon, showing us some love. Every dollar you guys contribute goes right back into the show, and as is tradition, we owe all of you the straight chilling salute. This goes out to Mitch, Joey, Warren, and Downtown Julie. Here we go.
Slap my ass.
And again.
In the ass.
And again.
Oh, God. Slap me in the ass.
Here we go one more.
Once more.
Slap my ass.
Oh, God.
I feel really
in the ass.
So red.
feel really good after those ass slaps, especially knowing that one came from Downtown Julie Brown. Wubba, 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 people. Let's go.
I didn't say Brown. You did.
Well, Downtown Julie, it paints a picture. We got Downtown Julie Brown. We know it.
The
You know
rapid
it.
fire
We all know
slaps. That's what we like to see. Just coming in hot. Wham, wham, wham,
Wow,
wham,
wow,
wham.
wow.
It should be like a fucking fraternity hazing event in here every week.
We should get one of those wooden paddles, but it just says straight chilling on it instead. You know,
There you go.
Crossing the desert of misery.
Dude, that's what I was thinking.
Right on.
And now
the
for the
ass.
slapping of the ass.
Yeah, thanks guys. We really do appreciate all the love. And speaking of the Chilloween party, this is your last reminder. If you are a Patreon subscriber at any level, you are cordially invited to hang out with us this Friday, October 13th at 9 p.m. Eastern for our 3rd annual Chilloween party.
Be prepared to be bedazzled.
You're gonna be
I'm prepared to
bedazzled.
be bedazzled.
It's bedazzling, to be sure.
I am looking forward to it. If you're unfamiliar with what the Chilloween Party is, we're doing some horror movie trivia. We're also encouraging you guys to dress up in costume because we're going to be doing a costume contest. Vote on the coolest costume of the night. Whoever wins trivia and whoever wins the costume contest, I'll send you a box full of cool shit. You don't have to wear a costume. By the way, just to clarify, but if you want to, we encourage that.
I know I will be.
Same. And finally, we're going to cap the evening off with a surprise screening of a Halloweenish horror film.
Pumpkins.
Pumpkins galore.
Gonna have pumpkins.
Nice.
I promise.
Yeah. So we're gonna drop the link to join the Zoom party on Patreon the day of the event. So that's where you're gonna go to click on the invite, and you'll hop over into our Zoom watch party, and we'll get the party rolling. Yeah,
Nice.
It's going to be a good old time.
There's gonna be some hell to pay here.
hell to
Whoa.
pay. Hell yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think that's all I got. Do you guys have anything you need to plug?
I got a filthy house. I got to get through some things.
Clean it up.
First off, I've got a feature episode on Plug It Up with Caitlin, where we were talking about Baby Ruby, a new film from earlier this year. So that was a lot of fun. Appreciate her having me back on her show. It was a fantastic discussion. Really liked that movie. Also, too, for this whole spooky season, all of October started a little bit before October, but on our socials, mostly Instagram, I think it pops up on our Facebook stories as well. But we have been posting one of our episodes, Halloween themed episodes, for every day of the month because we have over 31 at this point. So specifically, Halloween themed episodes are going up. At this point, we've posted all the Halloween ones. I'm saving it too, like in this a little bit of a playlist kind of thing, so you can easily reference them. So if you go on our Instagram, the little tab that's labeled Halloween, and we'll have links to all the episodes there. So yeah, of course we cover the entire evil. Yeah, we've covered the entire Halloween franchise. Posted several of the Simpsons episodes that we've done, and then any Halloween themed movie will be going up there. So yeah, got a bunch. So you can do your own kind of straight chilling 31 days of Halloween if you want.
Hell yeah.
That's going up there. One more thing. At the end of this month for Halloween season, I will be participating again in the Halloween party over at the DCC Cafe here in Seoul. I will again be hosting horror trivia once again. This is something I did last year. We're going to be there kind of most of the day. There's going to be all kind of events going on, some food specials, some spooky games, Nightmare. We're going to be playing Nightmare again.
Nice.
There's also, I think this is okay to announce. Hope it's okay to announce. There's going to be a D&D Scooby-Doo themed session.
That's not okay to announce.
Nope. We're trimming that.
Oh,
redacted.
But yeah, horror trivia will be that night. This is going to be Saturday, December 28th in Seoul. So if you're in the country, if you're in the area, stop by, hang out with us, bring a costume. Play some games. Horror trivia will be later at night, and be having a good spooky old time.
Well, of course, here come the demons.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Randy, we got some new merch, right? You want to mention that?
We do.
Yeah.
So, as we did last year, we have some special edition, limited edition Chill-O-Ween t-shirts and merch in general available on our TeePublic site, which is accessible through our website on the shop option of the navigation. It's just the reskinned, recolored, renumbered version of our Chill-O-Ween logo, our specialty logo, which I'm quite fond of, which is rare for me to say about my own work.
Whoa.
So come on and get you some while it's hot on November 1st. That shit is gone. It's going to the grave.
Forever.
It's gone.
Forever.
Nice. Yeah. And I do have one other thing. I'm just going to go ahead and self-plug here. I'm doing my annual daily drawings on Instagram at Andy Gaddis, and that is where I have started this thing I call the Cabinet of Cursed Objects, where I'm drawing cursed objects from film and from stories just throughout history, basically, mostly movies. Let's be real. 99% movies. So every day there will be something new added to the cabinet. It is day 9 right now. By the time this comes out, it'll be day 11. Check it out. I'm pretty happy with that too. So
hell yeah.
Yeah.
That is
love
super.
seeing
you guys
that
have been
thing.
posting some of it on the Straight Chilling Instagram as well. So
I want people to see that shit. I love seeing it getting filled up every day, you know?
Ooh, that's what I say.
Weird.
Weird.
Cool.
Oh, I do want to mention
yes, come with me.
Come with me.
I forgot to mention we are co-hosting our Halloween party with the Dark Side of Soul here, and forgot to mention Sean.
Yeah. I forgot the other 2/3.
Massively important. Sweet deal. I think the last thing we got to do is listen to a word from our sponsors.
All right, and away we go.
Gather round, all you ghastly ghouls, and kick off this Halloween season with scary good music and even scarier movies. Monster House Records is a brand new vinyl record retailer specializing in punk rock music and horror movie memorabilia. Located in the heart of Sanford, Florida, they boast a wide array of physical media, including vinyl records, cassette tapes, CDs, VHS, Laserdisc, and more. You can also find vintage tees, books, and plenty of toys. Come for the music, stay for the chills and thrills at the Monster House Records. Be sure to follow them at Monster House ORL or visit them on their website at monsterhouserecords.com.
Monster House Tony's about to get a bunch of free advertising because I don't think I'll ever be able to stop playing this ad. I laugh literally every time.
Vintage tees.
Days. I don't know how you even characterize
That's
that way of speaking.
That's straight chilling history right there now.
In the making, yeah. All right, yeah. Our house is clean. Let's get into the main event. We're talking The Exorcist Believer.
His house is clean.
We're talking The Exorcist Believer. And we're kicking it off with the back of the box.
What's on the back of the box?
Oh boy, one of us has to stay on the ball here. You know,
I don't know.
I know. We don't want our show running long.
I'm trying to keep it from running too long.
Man, our show runs long. Let me tell you how long this thing runs.
And another thing, it runs long too. So yeah, we're talking about The Exorcist Believer. This is the latest and greatest from your boy David Gordon Green. Rated R with a long runtime of 1 hour and 51 minutes. This was
already getting into the bias here.
This was written by Peter Sattler, David Gordon Green, and Scott Teems, which all of those dudes, I believe, also wrote together on Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends. I don't think they were all on 2018.
What a team to bring back.
I know.
Yeah, I know.
This
bold move, David.
This stars Leslie Odom Jr., Jennifer Nettles, Olivia O'Neill, and Dowd Raphael Sabridge, Lydia Jewett, and of course, reprising their roles from the original Exorcist, you got Linda Blair and Ellen Burstyn coming back to this one. Plot synopsis.
Spoiler.
Brought to
yeah.
It's on IMDb, whatever. And also, it's not a spoiler. It's really just fucking not. Synopsis brought to you by IMDb is as follows. When two girls disappear into the woods and return 3 days later with no memory of what happened to them, the father of one girl seeks out Chris MacNeil, who's been forever altered by what happened to her daughter 50 years ago. Gentleman's first time watch because it's a brand new movie. Would you recommend people check out The Exorcist Believer? Juice, why don't you kick us off?
Not particularly. However, I will say it's Halloween season, and going to the theater is a big appeal for a lot of people. And so I think, it's kind of a tough choice, to be honest. But if I was going with my preference, I think I would probably prefer to see this movie. If I was going to go one horror movie in the theaters this season, I'd probably go see this one just because it's got the spookier vibes over something like Saw X or something like that, because it's got some horror, the classic horror beats of Exorcist tale. So, but not a strong recommend, not really. Bob, how about you? Would you recommend people check this thing out?
No, you can skip it. Just
okay.
Watch Halloween at home again for the 100th time. That's
all right,
my recommendation.
Pumpkins.
Randeezy, what about you?
I'll echo what Justin said. I think this is like seasonally appropriate to go see at the theater. I went and saw this at the theater and I had a pretty good time, like as from a crowd perspective. Not everybody was feeling it, but it was That's to be expected, honestly. But a lot of people were. The guy next to me jumped several times and screamed, and his wife got mad because they didn't bring her beer fast enough. It was a great experience.
The real horror.
That's the real horror.
Bastard.
No, yeah, I would lightly recommend if you're
People
looking
are
for
bringing
news.
you beer.
But it's not fast enough.
Damn.
In fairness, it takes like half an hour to get a beer there. I don't understand it, but anyway, yeah. So it was. I would say yes for that reason alone. Otherwise, if you're like looking forward to an entry in the Exorcist franchise, I don't know if it's going to scratch your itch or not. It's pretty skippable. Otherwise,
Yeah.
That sounds like a very, very lukewarm recommendation from the spring. I don't believe. All right.
That's the milk that's been left out for Santa Claus all night, but it's like 7 a.m.
Oh, God.
left out for the Great Pumpkin. You mean?
It's turned.
He didn't show. We're Jewish.
Ira, stop putting milk out.
We are going to spoil the shit out of this brand new movie, and here comes your warning.
Spoiler warning.
Oh, Bob, I'm looking forward to this plot synopsis.
I'm glad you are. I am glad.
I need you to. I saw this 2 days ago. I'm not going to lie. I kind of need you to remind me of some things.
Dude,
That couldn't hurt.
I usually type my shit out and then go find a synopsis and read through it, make sure I didn't forget anything, but there wasn't one anywhere to be found. So I hope I just remembered everything. I think I did, but we'll find out.
This movie is prematurely lost media.
Yeah. So here's the synopsis. The movie opens up in Port-au-Prince, Haiti, where Victor and his pregnant wife, Soren, are vacationing. Soren allows some of the locals to perform a protection ritual for her unborn child. Later that day, Victor goes out to take some photographs, and the building Soren is sleeping in collapses due to an earthquake. Victor pulls her out of the debris, and at the hospital, the doctor tells him they can't save both his wife and child. He has to choose one or the other. We then jump to present-day Georgia, where Victor's raising his 13-year-old daughter, Angela, by himself. One day after school, she's supposed to study with a friend, but instead they sneak off into the woods and try and talk to the spirit of her mother. Victor's concerned when she doesn't come home that night and bands together with the parents of the other missing girl, the school staff, and the police to comb through the woods. They look for both the girls. They don't find them. 3 days pass, and the girls then suddenly appear in a barn 30 miles away from where they were last seen, and their feet are badly burned. Other than that, they get a clean bill of health and return to their homes. The girls then begin acting very strange. Angela performs acts of self-harm. She attacks her father, and she begins lashing out. He turns her back over to the hospital for observation. His religious neighbor, who's also a nurse, heard Angela say some things to her that she never shared with anybody, leading her to believe that perhaps the little girl is possessed. She talks to Victor and tries to restore his faith. She also gives him a book written by a parent who dealt with possession before, written by Chris MacNeil from the original Exorcist. He reads the book and finds her asking for advice. Chris eventually comes to the house and meets Angela, who quickly stabs her eyes out with a crucifix. Meanwhile, the other missing girl...
Not in the file.
It's unfortunately in the file. I wish it wasn't. Meanwhile, the other missing girl, Catherine, is also acting strange. She causes a scene at church, and her parents don't know what to do with her. Through a large amount of exposition, Chris convinces Victor that he must bring everybody together to save the kids. Only their combined beliefs can do it. They try to get a priest to perform an exorcism, but the Catholic Church says no. They get medical...
Where's your faith, Father?
It's in the car. I'm going to get it.
Hell yeah. He stays in the fucking car for a while. They get medical equipment and a couple chairs and strap the girls down back to back in Victor's living room and attempt an amateur exorcism. The priest stays outside in his car and prays for him. They begin reading scripture and pouring blessed water over them. They don't like this and eventually release some sort of evil steam into the air, which is combated with some fire and smoke from the fireplace. The demon says only one of them can live, and they have to choose. The demon also reveals that Victor chose his wife's life over his unborn daughter back in Port-au-Prince. but she died from her injuries anyways, leaving only the daughter. The priest runs in and attempts to help, but he gets his head spun 180 degrees around and dies. Catherine's father selfishly caves and says he chooses his daughter to live. It appears as though Angela has died after vomiting some black goo onto the ceiling. The movie then alludes to the Haitian protective spell put on Angela before she was born, and she wakes up revealing that Catherine has actually died. Victor and Angela live on happily ever after. While a blinded Chris MacNeil is reunited with her estranged daughter Reagan, and Angela returns to school the next day. She has a bit of an impish smile, maybe alluding to the fact that she is still possessed. Roll them credits.
Oh,
Yay.
boy. So I think it might be important to kind of start with a little bit of a history lesson to kind of put this into context a little bit.
God.
Okay.
No. So what I was going to say is,
I thought that he took away the mystique of the story.
well, no, I was going to say the year is 2017 and Jordan Peele has just released Get Out to everyone's praise.
Mm-hmm.
And then we start to get this string of people who typically work in comedy starting to get into horror. So, the next year, David Gordon Green releases Halloween 2018. Chris Rock eventually gets involved with Spiral. There's several people getting involved. And I think I really wanted to start this off by going back and honestly kind of praising Jordan Peele and stressing the fact that this wasn't like some trend that everybody could just hop on the train. Because at this point, he has released 3 films that are all consistently amazing and fantastic. And now this is David Gordon Green's 4th film, in this same kind of span of time. And I think at this point we can say, Jordan Peele is the special one. Jordan Peele, it's not
that's a little premature, don't you think?
Well, no. And also, at the time, 2018, it got a lot of praise and people thought that was going to be the kind of the trend. These people of comedy kind of getting involved. But there was one man who was brave enough to stand up and say, this is mediocre. And I think his views have now been justified at this point.
Oh my God, dude.
Why that piece of shit lied? I don't know.
Oh God. This is so drawn out just to pat yourself on the back.
God damn. 10 miles
Also-
to get to a fucking altar to yourself.
Just to
I really
diddle
did-
your
no,
own
I-
ass.
I really did want to stress, like the idea
How right
that,
I was.
that Jordan Peele really is kind of the special
He
one.
is,
And
I'm
the thing
blanking
is,
on the guy's name. The dude that just directed Barbarian also came from The Whitest Kids You Know. He came from comedy. And
that's right.
Some people like it, some people don't, but it's at least an original idea. You have to have like a concept for the movie. Nobody had an idea for this. Blumhouse and Universal were like, hey,
This is the thing.
We're going to get the rights for this franchise. David Gordon Green, would you like to make another trilogy? And he said, okay. So they got the rights. And here we are with this like lame brain attempt at a legacy sequel that just has it's toothless. It's just like largely a rehash of the original, just with 2 girls it's just like watered down, like uninspired, hollow, just attempt at making some money. It feels
That's the
so
thing.
heartless and just not good. Just not very good.
No.
I think I think that is the key difference, is that like the people who are succeeding at making good horror movies are coming up with original concepts, they're not creating franchises necessarily. And when they do, or when they jump into a franchise that exists, the thing is like there's so much stuff for them to be held up against that it makes it's a harder road, even if that's the kind of movie you want to make. So just make a different movie, like make one of your own that doesn't have the baggage. And I think there's a lot of interesting ideas that David Gordon Green has explored in his movies that should not have been in those specific movies, because it wasn't what the movie was advertised to be or what fans like expected, which I think is reasonably fair to critique, because that's how they market it. If you're going to go after a fan base and then not do anything for that fan base, but instead serve a plotting that kind of contradicts yourself, which is what happened with Halloween franchise or Halloween reboot trilogy or whatever. Like, then I think that's a problem. But Jordan Peele and I can't remember his name either, but the guy
Zach
from Barbarian,
Kreger.
like
Zach Kreger is his name.
Zach Kreger, yeah. So like they're clearly in the comedy world. They're clearly coming up with new ideas and interesting like ways in with this horror stuff. So I think there's something there. I think there's something valuable about if you understand people well enough to make them laugh, that you might also be able to understand them well enough to make them, sit in their seats a little bit different, and get a little spooked. But you just have to have the idea first, and you have to lean into the idea and not into the recognition. So anyway, that's my pulpit.
Well, now I would like to, coming off this initial discussion, I might be the one defending this film this week, which is kind of crazy a little bit. Maybe not so much, but
I thought I would be.
Well, okay. Well, maybe we'll have some more positive things to say than we generally do. But what I will say is now at this point, this being the fourth film that we've covered from David, I feel like it's becoming a bit like the discussion we had last year with Rob Zombie, where I was getting a little kind of frustrated because I feel like the discussion is almost always the same, where I see a lot of the same problems that I have consistently seen in David Gordon Green's work, where I feel like there are enough little bits in here where I think like, wow, that's an interesting idea for me to ponder, because ultimately it's not executed well. There's enough in there for me to be intrigued and think, wow, I could really see the bones of what would be a really potentially good, intriguing film in a franchise like this. But David is just not capable of executing at this point. Like, I have no faith in him bringing those ideas to life. I am not a believer in David Gordon Green at this point.
Damn.
Because he just consistently has this dialogue that just has to spoon feed you his ideas
so much
without being able to build it organically. And it's just like, man, I see what you're going for, but you can't do it. Apparently, I don't think he's capable. I just don't.
I think having Chris MacNeil's character, like the character of Chris MacNeil, come back in this movie is largely just to be like, oh, hey, it's her. And also for her to just state what this movie is about, like explicitly for you.
Sure.
And I hate that so much. And she sort of like recontextualizes her character from the original movie. And like, she, researched all these religions and she wrote this book, and she's now like a theological scholar of some sort, I guess. And she's like,
truly, you have a dizzying intellect.
I guess the point of this movie is people got to come together to overcome this evil and save their kids. They have to, set aside their differences. They have different beliefs. They come from different walks of faith. They got to work together to save these kids. And at the end of the day, they don't, and one of the kids dies. Also, I guess there's some sort of like choice fallacy commented on this in this movie, because every choice people make, it doesn't matter. Their choices just don't seem to matter at all. I don't know what the fuck that's supposed to say about religion, but I hate that it's just like stated. It's just stated so plainly, and then it just like takes whatever sort of surprise out of the end of the movie for me that could have been there.
Yeah.
A positive, I will say, because I feel like I don't want to go just negative the entire time.
Sure.
The father-daughter relationship in this movie, I really bought into. I thought those actors did a good job, and I was buying into their the family. No, you disagree, Juice.
I don't think any amount of dialogue in this relationship building, where I think the dialogue in this is generally just terrible across the board. Not only are people telling you what they think and what the movie plot should be about and things like that, there's no relationship in here. I mean, it's I would say it's maybe the closest that anyone comes to making me feel any kind of thing or seem like it's real. But generally, no. The acting and dialogue in this movie is generally just very stiff and not believable in any capacity to me.
The father, Leslie Odom Jr., I thought he did a good job. I really did.
I agree with that.
I don't.
Yeah,
no,
he definitely. I think he brought some serious shit to it. But the flaws are there. I do think that like over explaining things is a problem, and it happens a lot in this. The thing about it is that I watched this movie like I feel like the pump is primed, not just for us having like slammed on David Gordon Green for at least 2 to 3 movies now. Like, I feel like the pump is primed for people to just like hate watch the shit out of this. And it seems like that is kind of what's happening right now, as people are just like chomping at the bit. He's already walked away from the sequels and everything. Like,
potentially, I don't know if that's confirmed.
That's a rumor.
Yeah.
So I just like, I went in there. I was like, I'm not going to let that like weigh me down. I really want to give this a fair shot. It's a whole different franchise. It's a whole different animal here. Let's take a look. And ultimately, I think that the things that this movie does wrong are things that are done wrong in a lot of horror sequels. And I just don't think it rises. I think this movie's biggest crime is that it's just feels mediocre. Like, it's not that it is, especially like Halloween Kills and the end of Halloween Kills, the entirety of Halloween Ends is somewhat offensive to the fans. And this isn't that. And it's also not silly as those movies were in their decision making. So it doesn't have quite the same level of ding to me. It's just kind of forgettable, which is still better than at least one of the Exorcist sequels, but out of the ones I've seen. But I mean, it's not going to rise beyond what it's the conversation we're having this weekend about it, I don't think, unless he continues making them.
And that's a good point to make, because I did, like you said, I went into this movie not being like, I want to hate, as much as I said, fuck David Gordon Green. I did not go into this movie to say like, let me just shit all over this man and his work. I was curious about a new franchise and a thing that doesn't have so much lore like Michael Myers does. And so, okay, my claim that I might be the one defending this film, even though I've kind of knocked down all the positives so far. Here's what I thought was good about it, and where I saw a potential for even knowing that there was going to be a trilogy, where I thought a good the bones of a good trilogy could be, because I don't want an Exorcist trilogy, but if I know it's coming, I'm looking for what's being set up. The idea, and we've brought this up before, which is the same thing we said about Halloween. Something as Halloween fans, we said like, oh, the idea of him going home and stuff, those are interesting. David's bringing some good ideas sometimes. So the idea of having an Exorcist film that's not solely based on the Catholic Church is interesting. And we, the Medium, that film that came out a couple years ago, I think I did a mini cast on that one, but it was based, I think in Thailand or something. And it was, based on Exorcist and that culture and how that society handles it. And that was very intriguing and interesting to me, because most of the time it's always about the Catholic Church. So where I potentially saw this, where you could have some trilogy, is almost like a trilogy of Exorcist films that are approached from a different faith, how they are handled like by a different faith each time. And I thought, not exciting, but potentially interesting.
Switches things up.
Switches it up. And so we do have some elements in here of, we have seen the power of Christ compels you. We have seen that. So it was interesting to see some elements of other faiths kind of coming in and doing things to kind of handle this, because even like here, you go to a Buddhist temple, there are like these pictures. I don't know much about Buddhism, but I mean, you have these like demons at the foot of Buddha, these creatures or whatever. So, I mean, it's interesting to ponder and to consider how another faith would approach,
I kind of agree. I think that like the problem with how they did it here, well, first of all, I don't think, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that every denomination represented in this movie was an offshoot of Christianity of some variety. I don't think there was any Buddhists. I don't think there was any Taoists or anything like that.
And that was kind of a negative
there
for
was
me.
Like
but yes, I think so.
Some sort of like root healer or something that was like more along.
Yeah, but she said something about Christ at one point. I think she's more Pentecostal or something. I don't know what denomination she is.
Definitely
I'm pretty sure she said something about God,
but
or about Jesus.
Yeah, I agree that idea is interesting. I don't think the way this movie uses that idea is interesting. It's mostly
either. And so like the problem
there were
I have
hints
with it,
of it, but no, I mostly agree with that. Yeah,
the problem is that the way that it's done, the way that it's explained ad nauseum, and the way that it actually like unfolds feels very much like a coexist bumper sticker to me, and not like a natural progression of the story. It felt like trying to uncatholicize a quintessentially Catholic story or franchise. At least it has been since it was written originally by Blatty. And so like, I don't know, they had done that in a way that was exciting and not just, it felt pandery is ultimately what I'm landing on. Is it felt like a pandery way of doing it, as much as there might be some interest in seeing how other cultures do that sort of thing. I just don't think that it really tried to do that. I think it tried to undo the Catholicism aspect to some extent and only make that more of like a one facet of approach. But they do it all at once. They bring a Super Friends together without introducing any of those characters. You know what I mean? They do, but like it doesn't feel like the Super Friends. It feels like you jumped into the middle of a Super Friends episode instead of seeing how they got together or whatever. I don't know. That's a bad parallel, but I don't know. There's something wrong with this. That just doesn't feel, and it doesn't feel exciting. It doesn't feel like this is going to solve the problem. It seems like casting about and just like casting a huge wide net to try and solve this inscrutable problem. And I understand why desperation might make you do that, but it just seemed the way it all comes together. I don't understand. Like, I don't see some of these faith people. Like, I've been in a Baptist church. I was raised in a Baptist church. I don't really see a Baptist taking kindly to a root healer participating in the same religious ceremony as he does, like, or they do. And that's not always true, but my experience is that like there's not necessarily tolerance of other facets of even Christianity. I mean, that's Martin Luther proved that shit. So I don't know.
Well, I guess the thing too is I want to go a bunch of different directions. I agree. So where I think the problem with the execution with this is one of the reasons too I kind of disagree about the dad is I wish they didn't focus on the dad, or not necessarily so much, because where I see this working really well is kind of like what they did. You need to kind of follow the blueprint, I think, of the original Exorcist with a twist where we knew about the priest in that. It was about him and him losing his faith. Okay, so that's what you kind of need to do here. And again, approaching it from that idea of another faith is interesting. We even covered the last exorcism last year. Yeah. And that was an interesting aspect. We were like, oh, we don't get to see an exorcism from a non-denominational, not a Catholic church. Mm-hmm. And so and the way that they start and root that movie is in his faith. And so what I was really disappointed in is we start off and they introduce this other family that has a different faith belief system. And I thought that was a good choice because you're going to have this conflict of faith. You have these two girls that are intertwined in this situation. Essentially, you would think the families have to work together. They're completely coming at it from a completely different faith-based system. I thought, wow, okay, that's an interesting idea. And I was hoping that we would get to see their kind of faith system being brought into question. I even and maybe I was seeing a bit of myself in this, and not necessarily myself, but so their explanation of what happened to the girls and everything, that is the church that I grew up in. I grew up in that kind of church, the idea of like Jesus went to hell and when they said we don't baptize them until they make the choice, that's the church I grew up in. And so I was like, oh, okay, whoa, this is intriguing. But when they throw their preacher in there, he's nothing. Like, I don't know anything about that guy. And they don't explore their faith as a family that would be different from the Catholic Church and stuff. And so I really think they dropped the ball on that, but it could have been good.
Catherine's parents are almost not even characters in this movie. We just know that they go to like I guess a more normal church. It doesn't look like a Catholic church, but like I guess a Baptist church, or I don't know.
It's like non-denominational,
Methodist, something like that.
Yeah,
maybe non-denominational.
The Angela's father, like I don't know if they say explicitly what religion he subscribed to, but he was like a man of faith until he lost his wife, and then he like renounced whatever faith that was. I don't know if he was a Christian or not. But yeah, I mean, I see what you're saying. Like the whole point of the movie is like these people have to overcome their differences and work together, and like we don't really see that. They just kind of end up in a room together.
Yeah, they just do.
And they kind of work together a little bit, but not really. And like ultimately one of the girls dies anyways. So like what does that mean? Like work together? I don't fucking know. There's not much of a point to it. And like this movie feels like the exact same thing as the original Exorcist, just like way less interesting. Like it doesn't have any of the like depth of character. It doesn't have any of the shock value or originality. It just has like, I don't know, we need to do more. So there's like two girls. There's more than just one religion. There's just like, I don't know, just throw more at the wall and maybe it'll work out at the end of the day. And there's like steam coming out of these girls' mouths and they're pouring like blessed flowery water on them because of... it feels like super like scattershot and uninspired, and like I do think it's scattershot. I think like there's something about how there's just so like they try and do this thing where everybody's religion is valid. It's not a matter of how you practice, it's a matter of if you believe. That's why it's called Believer. That's the central conceit. And Leslie Odom Jr.'s character is not a believer, and he has reason not to be. I think that, Juice, you're right to say that it would be interesting to see more conflict between him and the other family. We see a little bit of that. I don't think that they were non-characters, but I don't think they were very strong characters at all. I think that I understood who they were, though, generally speaking. The dad was a little bit of a braggadocious, like loudmouth idiot, and the mom was maybe a little bit pent up, but ultimately would do anything for her kid and had enough smarts to, basically sign a compact with Leslie Odom to not choose and subvert the demon that way. But when the dad comes through and like yells his daughter's name and chooses and sets off the end of the movie, basically, like the way that all wraps up, it doesn't feel like it has a point. It doesn't feel like it led anywhere. It just kind of led to a conclusion. And so I don't see... It's the echo of the choice at the beginning of the movie where it doesn't matter. I don't know what that means. I actually kind of like the ending. I actually do kind of like the ending, and that is something I will defend. Now, the problem is the ending works for me. It doesn't pay off, though, because he didn't set it up well. What you would need to do, in my opinion, to make that really hit hard, in my opinion... This is the problem, yes. Is because the dad chooses, I feel like we need to know more about him and his faith system, because I need that to hit home that his faith, he failed his faith. Or he failed in his faith by choosing his daughter. That is where his faith falls apart, where his weakness comes into play and ultimately dooms his daughter. I like the struggle of, we're not going to choose. No, we're not gonna play your game, devil, because they even go into that thing, Jesus was tempted by the devil. He went in, he went to these things. So like that needs to be the temptation. If that's the story that you're basing your faith system on, then that needs to be the test that you go through, and the dad failing and it costing the daughter's life, that can hit home, except that, like we said, the dad is essentially a non-character, and we don't know anything about his faith system, so him being the one choosing feels hollow because we don't know his state. There's no, I totally agree. That's what I was going to say as well, is that it feels like the ending feels hollow. It feels like it just sort of like comes to a conclusion, and it makes whatever sense there is to make. It just doesn't have any emotional weight because we haven't seen the struggle we've been talking about between these two parties on a level that really sells what they're selling, which is crazy because this movie isn't short. They spend a lot of time doing a lot of shit, but not a lot of time. Like they only have like 2 or 3 scenes where they show these two families interacting with any sort of even animosity. They kind of work together. They kind of don't. If they had spent more time and had like a almost a brawl or something at one point,
And then, like you said, like we got to know that the dad is just like hot tempered and just wants what he wants. And that's his character flaw. And he fails to, to think of other, like he fails in being selfish and getting what he selfishly wants, and fucks the whole thing and ends up being played a trick on that everybody saw coming in some way. Like, I don't know. It could work, but it does not work. And so to me, it's a bad ending. It could have, I don't know. I don't think that this ultimately feels like it doesn't feel like a real story. It feels like all the trappings of a story. It's like shot well. It's got good audio. It's got a few good jump scares that scared my dude to my right like crazy. But
I think you could
aside from that, it's pretty empty feeling.
I think you could look at this movie and just say it's a very like pro voodoo movie, because the only thing that seems to work consistently is that voodoo protection spell they put on the unborn baby at the beginning of the movie. It keeps her alive twice, despite the fact that people keep choosing other people to live instead of her. It just keeps her ass alive. Like, that seems to be like the clearest point of the movie to me. It's like voodoo is the way to go, guy.
Voodoo
all
is
these
good.
other religions failed you. You can't trust anybody but voodoo.
Nah,
That's my takeaway.
You need to hear this.
I don't know. To me, that whole thing, like, and this is just probably just me, but it reminded me of like Harry Potter and how the whole reason that goddamn Harry Potter's the boy who lived and everything is just because his mom loved him, and like that's what it felt like. Like, lots of people do little ceremonies for their unborn children or for their born children or whatever. They pray, they do all that stuff, and for whatever reason, this one just worked extra good, and the devil wasn't having it as much as possible, so he killed her and then tried to take over this dog. Like, I don't know. It doesn't.
Yeah.
It just feels very weak, and I just don't think I need a fucking Exorcist movie like this.
No, nobody does.
Well, to be honest, it didn't register with me. I guess you could go either way of the voodoo spell is what protected her. I mean, I associated what happened in the end with the demon fucking with them. Like, you're going to choose this person.
Yeah,
I'm gonna do the opposite.
It could be either way. It's interpretable.
I think it's true. I know he like shows her the scarf, and she has it like seems to like harken back to the very beginning of the movie, very specifically. Sure. And I mean, I guess
and it also doesn't have any reason to be there otherwise.
Otherwise, like, yeah. Why would? That's
why even show that? Why do any of that?
Yeah. Again,
maybe
nobody.
Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, no, like kind of what I was saying, or what we've been saying. Nobody was asking for an Exorcist trilogy, legacy sequel, follow. I mean, we've been going through this whole legacy thing again and again and again. And it's, a lot of it is just going through the motions, the same critiques and stuff like that. But if I'm saying to myself, okay, how can you at least make it work in some capacity? There was some moments where I thought to myself, okay, this is a cool moment, or this could have been so much better or impactful. There was this one moment. So if I'm thinking to myself, okay, I'm doing a follow-up to The Exorcist. Now it's two girls. Okay, you can work with that in some ways that I think could have been effective. But there was this one scene where I thought, like, okay, this is going to be a solid legacy sequel moment. I don't need it. I'm not like, but I'm just saying, if you're going to do it, this could have been cool. When the girl is going through the church, and she goes on her rant, what I thought was going to happen was I thought she was going to go to the front of the altar and pee like we saw in the first Exorcist movie. It would have been better. Yeah. I was like, when she's walking up the thing, I thought to myself, oh shit, here we go. Okay. Yeah, I thought that's where it was going. And I thought like, ooh, that's a good pull, because you're hitting the beats of the original one, but you're kind of ramping it up a little bit more, making it say, and then she does it. And I was so disappointed in that.
I think,
and I just feel like,
I think they're too afraid to take to do things like that anymore. It's because like, People are like very easily offended nowadays, and like I get it if someone's pissing on your religion, like quite literally, maybe that would upset somebody. But also, they took like a massive gamble monetarily on this franchise, which is going to make them want to be even more restrained. They spent like Universal Blumhouse spent $400 million just to buy the rights to make these movies, not including the budget of the movie. So, like, they have a lot of fucking dough on the line, and I could see somebody saying, like, I don't know, David, that's a little transgressive. Maybe we should roll it back some. Like, I wouldn't be surprised.
I mean, I could see that. I kind of disagree on 2 points here. One is that I don't think that her peeing on the altar is better in any way. I think it's the same scene ultimately, because what she's doing is what's the demon's doing is mocking the religion. That's what the demon does. So it can be there, it can say his body in the blood and like lunge at the fucking I mean, I thought like I don't know, there's a million things you can do that are like
this movie.
There's so much you can do in a church that is considered sacrilegious that you could do just about anything. I think that what she did, like mocking the body and the blood thing, I thought that was fine. I didn't think that would have been substantially improved with a pissing scene. And also, like as far as like being afraid to offend people, I think that's true, but I don't think that's necessarily what the issue is here, because this is a movie about demons who mock faith.
Working himself up in the background.
That would have been a 5-star movie if she took a huge shit, like right in the middle of the
Bob is just ramping up from the pee to the shit in his own mind, and just.
I mean, we've seen vomit. There's plenty of blood.
We've in my pants in school, and I just left it in
seen
all
the
day.
piss. We need the shit, David. This is a shit.
Dude, I don't know. Like you can do any of those things, and to me, it's ultimately the same scene. It's a scene of a demon possessing a child and mocking the church in the church.
But my point is, as a legacy sequel of hitting the beats of the original, but kind of ramping it up. In the first movie, the little girl comes down, they're throwing a party. It's adults having, a party, and this 8-year-old girl pees in front of them. That's very taboo. It's not something I want to see, but it's an impactful moment because you're like, oh shit, there's something wrong with this child, and it affects the atmosphere of the room. Of the movie, you think like, wow, that is a bold choice. It sticks with you. So this girl coming into this church and just being like, the blood of the Christ, the blood of the whatever.
I don't see a difference. Like I really don't.
See a big
difference.
difference.
The only difference is that one is a religious building and the other is someone's house. And so, like, it actually
because
should
it's in front of your congregation that you see that these people are like worried about like their reputation, and it's like literally in the house of God, and it's in front of like your peers and the people that you like, spend all of your
that's true of
time with.
A little girl who's destroyed a bunch of fucking destroyed like the sacramental wine stage, all that shit. Come out dripping in fucking sacramental wine, screaming the body and the blood at the preacher, and like. I don't see it as that fucking different. To me, it should hold more weight because of the things you just said. It doesn't fucking matter.
Then we've got to the point of this fucking scene. It's fine. It's the thing about it is like there's nothing really original in this movie. Period. Like there's nothing that happens in this movie that I found to be like particularly shocking or interesting or innovative or like fresh in any way. Like sure, she could have pissed in the church, and I would have thought like, well, we've seen that before, haven't we? Like
Exactly. That's the thing. Is like to me that seems like pandering. Like, that seems like
also
as
like
much pandering.
Her just saying the body and the blood over and over again is boring as shit to me. It's not scary in any way to me. Like
it's not supposed to be scary. It's supposed to be mocking the church, and that's what the demons do. And it's supposed to make the family like horrified, and everybody judge them, and like, oh my god, what's happened? Like it's supposed to damage their reputation, make them pariahs in some capacity, and like I think it would have been stronger, like to move towards what we were talking about earlier, if their church leader, their pastor, whatever, started like putting the screws to the parents about them not doing the right thing with their kid, and then that makes them do that to Leslie Odom as he's exploring exorcism with the Catholic Church, like create that tension in that way. And I think this scene is like tailor-made for that, whether it's piss or something else or what happened. Like it doesn't really matter.
There's almost no real conflict that comes from that. Like the parents kind of freak out, and then we don't see like anything really happened, and then we go like to their house and it's like been ripped to shit by the little girl, and like nothing really like comes from it. It just feels like standard spooky horror movie scene.
It
like,
does.
It's not. It's
does.
fucking boring. It's boring.
Well, I don't. Yeah, to me, the piss doesn't improve that aspect of it. But that's we can let that go. It doesn't really matter. Because it just doesn't go anywhere, and that's the problem. And there's a lot of scenes like that. The way that this is shot, there was one scene, I don't know if you guys caught this. I like Ann Dowd, who plays the nurse and the neighbor.
I like her too.
I like Ann Dowd a lot. She kind of has a commanding presence on screen.
Yeah,
she's in a lot of movies that I like. And she has even like a little bit of pathos in this, which I like, but they don't really go into it too much. But there's this one scene where Leslie Odom Jr., it just cuts to Leslie Odom Jr. and her standing next to a window, and he says, "Have you ever seen anything like this before?" And then they cut away, and I'm like, let Anne speak. Please let Anne speak.
Well, not actually. I don't know.
For?
I don't know if that's the correct ask, because what I was just going to go in, they have a scene where she shows up to his house and explains to him what happened at the hospital. They don't show you what happened at the hospital. She tells you what happened at the hospital. So she goes in and she says, she told me.
They show
did
that
they?
scene.
Okay. Dude, okay, well, maybe they did, but I guess her relaying it and actually saying the words, and I was just like, are we really?
She explained the significance of it.
Yeah, I guess because I guess she's okay. I guess, I mean, in her performance, but that character is just always explaining shit. Even the one of the very final scenes where there's this person sitting there. I don't even know who that person was, but she says something like, "What do you think evil is?" And then before the person even says anything, she's like, "I'll tell you what I think evil is."
Yeah.
It's like, what are we doing I think you're right now? What are we doing? Like, Jesus
She's
Christ.
like the bard in this, and she does so much of the heavy lifting for exposition, and they give her a little bit of pathos, but they don't. If they had just let her, like, I just want to see more of her as an actress, for one. So, like, that's why I say that. But, like, ultimately, as a character, what she needs is, like, to not just like explain everything and then be confronted once and then continue explaining things. She needs to like not explain why that was significant until the demon itself starts taunting her in a room full of people, and they're like, what are they talking about? And then she has to like confront her past that way. Instead, she's like kind of spearheading this whole thing, and I kind of think that's should be Regan's mom. That should be her and Leslie Odom doing that.
Yeah, I kind of wish they just would have left
Ellen Burstyn.
Chris MacNeil and Reagan totally out of this movie. They don't add hardly anything.
They don't add anything,
and it's just like it feels like wasted screen time. Although they're not in it a lot, but it's just like wasted screen time, and they just state what the point of the movie is, and it just feels so pandering. And like you think your audience is dumb as shit, and they're just here because like I know that face, I remember that one.
It is exact. I mean, why else would you show fucking Linda Blair right at the end? That's clearly like fan service and bullshit, and that's what I think the peeing is to me. But
sure,
but like I don't know, like the Ellen Burstyn thing. Like they bring Ellen Burstyn in to be like a Van Helsing character, to be a Donald Pleasance, and then immediately has both of her fucking eyes stabbed, so she's written out of the movie for the majority of it. And I'm like, this is pandering. This doesn't need to be. If she's not going to be an integral part of it, don't write her in. Don't write her in. And she's only integral by just like pushing Leslie Odom to do more. And then like the scene where like they're carving Reagan into the wall, a wall that nobody but the person who's possessed can see. And then like saying, "Oh, we know you." It's so pandery. And I don't know. I like Ellen Burstyn fine, but she's not. This is not a good use of that character, so why do it?
The demon at the end even says, like, "Are you looking for Reagan? Are you looking for Reagan?" It's like, who the fuck cares? Who the fuck cares about Reagan? It has no bearing on this movie whatsoever. I also don't really like that it's just the same fucking... Is there only one demon out there possessing little girls? Like,
that's a good call.
Azuzi's pretty busy.
It should have had some distinct characteristics. Yeah, that's a good call. That would have made
the same voice.
You need to have
same fucking thing.
Yeah. You need to have a different style demon. You need to have a different style Faith approaching it. I mean, that's the only way to make this more interesting and worth something, I think.
I think they could have mixed it up, but also like there's a part of me that justifies that to some extent as being like, it's the legion of hell. Like it has access to all the same information, and it's taunting them in a way that it knows works for that
I want to be
audience,
taunted in a way that's fucking interesting, though. Please.
Well, okay.
Intrigue me, demon. The steam. What is with the fucking steam coming out of their mouths?
Bad. The steam
I think
it's fucking
you know what I think about
Sleep
that?
3.0.
Yeah, the Dr. Sleep of it. But
what
like,
the fuck?
I think that's them. Like, again, I think that's the like pandering to the religious aspect and like trying to like open it up out of Catholicism and showing like, oh, so there's different ways to approach it. That's them like exploring other ways to exercise that we don't see other places, or we haven't seen in this franchise yet. But it just like, it's not really.
It looked bad.
It looked like shit.
It didn't bother. The look of it didn't bother me. This whole movie is like just is ultimately flat. Nothing offended me in this movie. It just didn't leave an impression that was particularly good, bad, or otherwise for the most part.
Cool.
Didn't offend me. I just thought it looked cheap. It looked really bad to me. I was just like, whoa.
Yeah, it didn't hit me that way. It didn't hit me as like super great, but it also was like, okay, sure.
I thought it was dumb. Personally,
I'm with you on that one, Bob.
They used the same voice for the demon. A lot of the like ADR, like the voice didn't match up with the girls' mouths a lot, and that bothered the shit out of me. It looked kind of like it made it look cheesier than it already did. Like I didn't think that the makeup looked particularly great to begin with, but that I don't know, that stood out to me.
Sorry, go ahead.
I mean, yeah, I thought the actresses, the little girls, did well when they were like not in demon makeup. Specifically, I think the worst scene of all is when Angela is in the hospital and she's in like a room with like plexiglass windows all around, and there's like a jump scare where she like slams her hand on the window, and then I forget what she says, but she drops a line right after that, and it looks so cheesy.
Can I go home now or something?
It looked bad. I don't know.
Something that occurred to me about this that like, you got to think of the original at some point. You can't help it. So I was thinking about the original while watching this, and the front half of this movie seemed to me on an audio level, like some like musically and sort of, it seemed to be very like controlled and very reserved in its musical stings and cues a lot. I mean, more so than I expected, I guess, is really where I'm at. And like it felt like, okay, maybe they are trying to capture that element of The Exorcist, because that whole movie, the entire exorcism, is almost no music. Like it's just screams or silence. And when they get to the exorcism here, it's got swelling fucking orchestra music, and it drove me nuts. That shit bummed me out, because I'm like, this should be a quiet, intimate scene. Instead, it's a dozen super friends all praying to their version of Jesus Christ while big swelling music is playing. That's not the spirit of the Exorcist franchise. You're whiffing it right here in the most pivotal moment, the actual fucking exorcism.
Woof.
Also, I feel like they try to capture some iconic moments from The Exorcist, and it's really weak. Like the window being turned. It's like, that's the reference you're going to be where they were knocking on the door and all the lights are turned off and they're like, nobody's home. And then they're like, somebody's home. And it's just this kind of window with the light on up in the corner. I mean, it's supposed to be a kind of reference to the iconic.
I didn't even register that as a reference. To me, it was just like, okay.
That's how kind of weak it is. Things are just continuing. I think, yeah.
I did like when they went around and saw like the hell that the family was living in. Yeah, because I like that shit. Like seeing the kids traumatized and all that shit. Yeah. I thought that sort of thing worked and could be expanded on, and again could work towards pretty strong conflict between the two parent units, which they don't utilize well.
The thing, when you really think about this movie and following up The Exorcist, Bob kind of mentioned, or somebody mentioned this before about it, I think about playing it safe and, we've invested so much money and you can't do that. Or when we were talking about like the peeing and everything like that. The thing about it is in a time of America where you had more, what I would think, more people just kind of generally subscribe to Christianity, and that being just the general kind of thought process of the society. And having a movie like The Exorcist come out where an 8-year-old girl is masturbating with a crucifix and rubbing her mom's face and her bloody crotch and, saying, lick me and stuff like that. And that being one of the most sought after movies of its time, lines going around buildings for people to see it. And then now 50, 60 years, it's years later. And, I want to see like something, it's something. Just a disservice to make this plain ass movie where it's the safest thing possible. You're not taking any risk. You're not doing anything that's you're towing the line completely. Like you said, it feels like a bumper sticker. It just feels so cheap in that way.
And I would almost never say that specifically about a movie, except for when you make a direct sequel to The Exorcist.
Yeah.
You kind of got to do like something,
It's like having a direct sequel to a Serbian film, but it's like more like a Lego movie.
It just doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make any fucking sense.
We do. It's about time to land that plane, gentlemen. If you got any other points, just add them to
we don't want to run long.
Your final.
Yeah, we don't want this show running long.
Ooh, we can't run long. Turkey. Oh, boys. Juice, why don't you kick us off out of 5? How do you feel about Exorcist Belieber?
Yeah, honestly, I expected to spend more time kind of defending this film in some ways because, again, I swear to God, it feels like I'm talking about Rob Zombie again because I feel like with David Gordon Green, it's the same kind of thing where all of his movies essentially hit the same beats for me where I think to myself, 1, this is unnecessary. 2, you're bringing up some interesting ideas that I would think would make this somewhat necessary or somewhat interesting to something I feel is unnecessary. Like with Halloween, like, you're bringing in ideas about the house or these different aspects that I thought would be interesting. With this, bringing in the idea of different belief systems of, I would love to see a fucking snake handler in there.
Yeah.
I want to see some shit. I want to see something crazy, man. I mean, bring it.
Nobody
if
was
you're gonna
even talking
do it
in tongues, were they? Like, and that's not even that crazy.
No, but they do mention that at one point. There's this kind of sly reference about, not everybody's used to speaking in tongues every Sunday or something. And I'm thinking, bring the
Pentecostal person there too. Like, have them speak.
Bring the extremes of religion. You're coming in, you're burning sage in this house, you're blessing this water and stuff, go throw it out on the east side of the house or show me some interesting things because we've seen the power of Christ compels you and you're not going to top that. You can't. So bring something new to the table. Show me the fucking snakes or something. Take some swings, take some chances. And like I said, if you're going to make a legacy sequel, I understand the choices of going bigger. So 2 girls, and I think you can make that work. Like I said, you can even make the ending work if you set it up properly. It just, like we said, it feels scattershot. Again, with David, it feels like you're throwing shit at the wall, seeing what sticks. Nothing really matters because it didn't feel like you had a central idea that you're following through on. And so everything just feels irrelevant. It just feels like something that's happening with almost no weight to it. Per usual, his dialogue's terrible. He's just telling you what he wants. Again, I said it last. Don't fucking try to teach me something, David Gordon Green. You are not good at it. You're not. For the fucking 5th time or whatever this is, you can't do it. This guy can't make horror movies. He can't. He's got some interesting ideas that he never can follow through on. He needs to fucking stop. This isn't as offensive, I guess. It's not as ridiculous as some of the directions he went with Halloween, but ultimately, like we said, it's a big kind of nothing. I watched this 2 days ago and I forgot a majority of the scenes that were supposed to be important or things that happen. I was like trying to think it just feels like it's going to be washed away so easily. Playing it safe, trying to teach me something, terrible dialogue, interesting ideas about the religion that's just not followed up on. So ultimately, I would say that this is a 2, super mediocre, drop the ball on several aspects of it, but 2, I think is fair enough. Bob, out of 5. Believer, what you got?
2 girls, 1 demon is just, it's not interesting. It's just fucking not, man. I wish they would have leaned more into a different religion instead of just like name dropping them and like not really doing a whole heck of a lot with that idea. Honestly, if the whole movie just would have taken place in Port-au-Prince, like keep it in Haiti, like that would be somewhat fresh and like I would be interested.
Or in Mexico.
Or you just
in like, I don't know.
Yeah.
In an
Georgia
old warehouse where somebody scams Reagan.
Oh my
God.
Reagan, I'd like to play a game. Yeah.
Come at me, motherfucker.
I do think Leslie
Dude, now that would be a movie. Fucking Saul versus the demons.
so
Like, cut my leg
Saul
off, bitch. I
versus
love
Pazuzu.
it. I love it.
Kindly undo these straps.
Pazuzu.
All right.
Leslie Odom Jr. I think is really the best thing in this movie for me. I think he did a good job as Victor. The girls did fine when they weren't possessed. I think there was a lot of rough ADR, and I hate that they used the same demon voice and the same demon in general. It feels super unnecessary to me. It feels too samey. There's, the single parent loses their faith. They're trying to protect their daughter. There's even like a boxing scene in this movie, which is like, it's just there because
a what?
A boxing.
I don't remember that.
A boxing. It's super brief and unimportant. It means nothing. I have to believe the only reason Victor the father decides to box is because the fucking pastor, the priest in the original is a boxer. Like, I don't know why else.
I do not remember that at all.
That makes a lot of sense.
Was it like
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Damn.
There's a vomiting scene. The girl does pee her bed, so there is like a pee scene. It's just like all the same stuff.
It's not about the pee, Bob.
I know. It's about the shit. There's like there's almost no real tension in this movie that's created. I'm not on the edge of my seat. The only times I'm scared at all is when there's just a loud jump scare, and it's not because it's like artfully crafted. There's just a loud noise, and I go, oh my God. Some of the makeup is goofy. The steam blows my mind, and I don't understand why that's there. Ellen Burstyn doesn't need to be in this movie. I know she got paid a shitload, and good for her, because she was phoning that shit in, and I don't know, man. She doesn't add much to the movie. It just feels like the editing at the beginning of the movie is like super choppy too. It seems like they cut out a lot of information, which is like fine because the movie's already dragging. But like it seems at the same time like very quickly paced and also like drawn the fuck out. It feels kind of like all over the place.
Yeah, we don't even see the ritual. She just tells you, oh yeah, somebody did a ritual for me. It's like, show the ritual.
I showed it a little bit, but
yeah, I don't know. I also thought like the girls going out into the woods at the beginning of the movie was going to have some sort of, I guess like Slender Man kind of quality to it or something like that, because it had that vibe, and that would have made it like a little more modern, a little more original, I guess, to an Exorcist movie. I mean, I don't know if that would really add anything or not. It's just like where my mind went. I was like, young girls going out in the woods. I don't know, Catherine's parents, we need more from them. It's just overall like a very toothless, rounded, like uninspired, boring ass exorcism movie. It's hard to make a good exorcism movie because we've seen a lot of really great ones, and you just have to have an original, fresh angle to like access that subgenre, and there's nothing like that here whatsoever. I don't like this movie, and I think it's a waste of money and time. I'm going to give it a 1 star. Randy, how do you feel?
Okay. Yeah, I don't feel that down on it. To me, this is just a forgettable movie. It's not that I see what it tries to do. to some extent, and it just doesn't really land. The emotionality isn't there. It over-explains things. The editing at times is great, and another time sucks. And the pacing, same story. The dialogue, same story. Like, it's just inconsistent with itself. The music is approached really well in the front half, and then really badly in the back half for me. I don't know. This, to me, ultimately, I compare this not necessarily to The Exorcist, but to just sequels in general, for Exorcist sequels and just sequels, and I see it as fitting in just nicely with those. The only difference is that this one has the air of taking itself more seriously than those, and that's what it was marketed on. So it makes it fair to critique it on that, on trying to be like the true successor and all those things. But in truth, like every fucking horror sequel, for the most part, at least says they're trying to do that, and they fail in a lot of the same categories. It's just a slightly different feel, I guess, for these David Gordon Green movies, because parts of it feel really professional and good. Some of the camera work seems professional and good. Some of the color grading, like all these like technical aspects, the technical aspects are better than they've ever been, but these stories have not improved for these sequels, these franchise sequels. The pandering has not improved. The bad pacing, all those things, like, to me, I couldn't ding this movie harder than I ding like Jason Takes Manhattan, which I do. Like, I don't think that's a good movie either, but I also recognize why could be fun to toss it on and like work on something while it's on. That's the role I think this movie lives in, and in time I think its negative reputation will start to inch upwards. I also feel like there's a lot of hot heads out there ready to just shit down the neck of this movie. And I kind of want to counter that. I don't think it's like, this is not a cataclysmic movie. This isn't even as bad as his last two. I think this is actually an improvement on David Gordon Green's horror film oeuvre. I don't necessarily want to see more from him, but if he's going to be out there working, I'm glad that it's not quite as bad as it was. I hope he reaches at least the heights of Halloween 2018 at some point, and maybe beyond. But that's hoping on the assumption that he's going to just keep getting work in this realm. And it seems like maybe it's him backing away now, at least the rumors. So I don't know. And in any case, I just don't see this. I don't see any of those sequels. I don't see Jason Takes Manhattan. I don't see Exorcist Believer as being necessary. So, and they come with baggage, and everybody's going to be like butthurt about one thing or another, justifiably or not. And just make original movies, man. That's just make a movie. If you have an idea and it's clear that David Gordon Green has a few ideas that are worth exploring, just do it in an unencumbered, baggage-free environment of your own fucking story. That's all I'm asking. If he did that, I think I would actually stand a chance of at least kind of liking his movies. Like, I think it would only improve things for him in the horror realm. But I don't know. For my money, this is just a very medium to low film, and I oscillate between a 2 and a 2.5, so I'll give it a 2.25.
A 2 1/4 from
That's
Randeezy. All right, that's going to put our aggregate at a 1.75.
Oh boy, so what a rough October.
For new releases, it has been a little rough.
Well, it kind of matches the tone of the rest of the year, so
yeah, we're a bunch of curmudgeons. Is probably the issue.
I mean, David Gordon Green's made really good movies, and like most of them, I think, have been comedies. And
he's excellent at comedies.
Great, yeah. So like, and most of his movies do look really great, and like, so like he knows how to put a movie together. But this like legacy sequel kind of thing for horror movies is not. It's clearly not his forte. And I would love to see him not make 2 more Exorcist movies and just go make an original in anything. Horror, comedy, whatever, drama.
Yeah.
And that would be exciting.
I'm sure he's going to keep working in some way.
Yeah, I think so. There's just like such a lack of character development in this fucking movie. There's just like is the dad even a believer at the end? Like, who the fuck knows? Like, I don't know.
I mean, yeah, I think so. I think that's pretty much stated.
I don't know. Maybe. Anyway.
That's the one thing that isn't outright stated, I guess. So just take it.
I mean, they made it seem like he was holding it back.
I mean, he watched an exorcism. He watched The Smoke. If you don't walk away from that believing a little bit,
steam.
I saw some steam. I
See,
mean,
the
you
thing
don't walk
is
away from
they
that
made
unscathed.
it. That's another problem. They split them, so they just like shoot themselves in the foot again, which is what they did in Kills and what they did in Ends. But so they make it seem like it depends on him believing for the, that's holding the exorcism back. Like we're all putting in work here, and the demon mocks him. You're not believing, but then they undercut that by having the other dad make the decision, which ends the exorcism. So.
Anyway, we got to get to our Rotten Tomatoes segment, but so people have been just blasting this Rotten Tomatoes score every fucking where. I know what it is. Have you guys seen it? Did you?
I've seen the critics. I haven't seen the users yet.
Okay, so
I
that's
haven't seen anything.
I've seen the critics.
Should I guess? Let me guess.
Okay,
we'll let Juice guess that, and then Bob, you can get us with the.
Okay,
I haven't seen it.
How about that? Here we go.
Certified.
See if I can hit within a 15-point window. How's that sound?
All right, Bob, you want to tee it up or should I?
Yeah, you go for it, man.
All right, so this is the Rotten Tomatoes segment in which we're going to, in some scattershot direction, try and guess what the Rotten Tomatoes scores are. Typically, this would be me getting these gentlemen to guess, but because of people knowing the scores and all that shit, we're going to let Bob mostly handle this one. So yeah, we're going to go with the percentage of positive scores aggregated. That's what we're looking for. That's what Rotten Tomatoes is for those who are confused about that. Apparently that's a problem. All right, Bob, why don't you take it away?
Okay, I am running it. Okay, I thought you were still.
Oh no, I was just teeing you up.
Okay, got you. Yeah, sorry. Let me pull it up on my phone real quick.
Well, wait, Bob, do you know the audience score?
No, I just know the critics.
Well, then Randy, you handle it then.
Okay. All right, I'll do it.
Okay.
So Rob can at least guess the audience score.
Yeah.
This episode's gonna run long.
Come on, guys.
All right, gentlemen. So we're going to start with the critic review as we always do. There are 195 critical reviews available. And Bob, you know the answer to this, or at least you're going to be as close as you could be. So Juice, why don't you tell me, where do you think that those 195 professional, supposedly critics score this film?
Well, 5 years later, everybody's finally starting to, come to the side of Soju, and ready to just shit on.
I love that
Gordon
just
Green.
an opinion is owned by you.
People are now ready to jump on the bandwagon and shit on David Gordon.
Fuck
so
you.
5 years too late, people. I'm sorry,
Shut
but
the fuck up.
I think it's going to be bad. I think it's going to be pretty bad. But even still in our Slack, there were some people who were a little soft on it. Like, oh, okay, kind of like we were saying, it's kind of mediocre. So I'll say like 40%. Bad, but
40%.
Kind of close to medium.
Okay. All right, Bob, how about... Oh, wait, no, Bob knows. I forgot.
Yeah.
All right, well, the closest person is only 16 points off. This is a 24% on Rotten Tomatoes.
No, I just missed that 15-point swing. Damn. Whoa, that is low.
I'm telling you, man, people are just dying to shit on this movie. They're dying.
That's the thing. Coming from last week where everyone's praising Saw X and everyone shitting on this, it's like, okay, people are in a fucking frenzy of just groupthink, apparently.
Dude, it really is that. And it's like new movies in particular that are part of a franchise, everybody's bringing baggage. So whatever happened in the last movie, whatever happened to that director last or whatever, they're bringing that to the table. People are ready after Halloween ends to just eviscerate David. And they do.
Damn.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's debatable. Obviously, all of this is debatable, man. That's what we do on this show. But like, it is. We've said it on this podcast before. Like, the most like offensive thing you can do is make a boring movie, and like this is fucking boring. Halloween Ends is not boring. It's fucking stupid as shit, but it's definitely not boring.
I think that's still worse. Yeah,
that's fair.
It's worse.
That's totally fair.
It's a worse movie. But it's commendable for taking bigger swings. But man, I would so much rather watch this movie.
I would not.
Going back to Randy's point, though, I would. Well, really, I would rather watch Kills over Exorcist. I would rather watch Exorcist over Ins.
I don't ever want to see this movie again, honestly. I just don't.
Damn.
Unless I want to take a nap.
The only thing that could ever make me want to put on Halloween Ends is like a pure drunken hate watch, and I just don't. I have too many other hate watches on the docket, so
I never want to watch Ends again. I'd throw Kills on. I'm so surprised Kills gets as much shit as it does. But whatever.
Kills has at least one badass scene, and actually two, because I always forget about the Johns, and the Johns are great. The opening scene is great. Those two things alone makes it better than a few of the Halloween sequels. I agree. So, not that bad, but also not good. All right, we're going over to the audience score after that little diversion. There are 500 plus verified ratings from the audience. I'm going to start with... Bob, you didn't get to go yet, so we're going to start with you. Okay. Where do you think that those 500 plus verified ratings land?
I still think it's going to be super low. Maybe a little higher than the critics. Maybe? I don't know. I don't know, man. There is a lot of hate. I don't know that I've seen more than like one positive review out there.
Where's your faith, Father? It's in the car. I'm going to get it.
I'll take... Man, how low should I go? I'm going to go low on this. I'll take a 18%.
Jesus Christ, skip to the end. All right.
Sorry.
That's all good. Juice, how about you?
Damn, I don't think it's going to be that low, but I could be very wrong again. I think I'm going to stick with my 40 range. Yeah, 40.
40. All right, sticking with the 40. And the correct answer, let's see, it's only 18 points off. This one was a 58%.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
58. Wow, so Juice is going to take that one. It's almost a 60. It's almost a D, people.
Yeah.
I think that's honestly, I think that's reasonable considering, like, well, it's an audience, so like people are going to bring their own baggage, obviously, but like, I don't know. This is to me a tepid sequel, not like I said, not a cataclysmic miscarriage of justice.
50%. Because again, here's the thing about what I think. If this is the one horror movie you see this year, it's Halloween, we're going to go out and see it, then you would probably get some scares out of it. You would probably be like, that was an okay Halloween watch. So I think that's reasonable.
Yeah, I agree. All right, let's go to our final part of this segment, in which I'm going to read one or two negative reviews, which I feel will probably contain at least a little bit of humor here. Let's find out. Here's the first negative review listed. I award this piece of garbage a 0 out of 5 possible stars. There was a day when the prospect of a David Gordon Green film would have had me excited. Now I get scared for all the wrong reasons with his name on the film.
Oh my God.
Meow.
Wow. Congratulations.
Somebody's
written by Scott Mangbog 69 at hotmail.com.
Written by DGG's Scorned Lover 69 on reddit.org.
Written by She Shoulda Shit.
She shoulda shit.com.
I don't even know what that would be, but
somebody's gonna look it up. I just said it on a public I said it on a public forum. Somebody's gonna look that up and get fired. All right. One more negative review. Let's go. I'm going to go with this one because it's extraordinarily short. Not that entertaining. Nah. That's it.
I agree.
Yeah. All right. Keep brevity, soul of wit, and all that. There you go. That's our Rotten Tomatoes segment, Bob. What do we got next?
I just got a couple little bits of trivia. Let's go ahead and jump into it.
It's totally time for trivia.
All right. So Ellen Burstyn turned down her reprising role several times, apparently for this movie and for a lot of the other Exorcist movies. And then I'm sure they doubled the salary they were offering her, and she eventually accepted. And she used her salary to fund an MFA scholarship for actors at Pace University.
Hell yeah!
Good for her,
Ellen.
Yeah. She's a lifelong member of the Actors Studio and a co-president. So that I mean, fuck. Might as well.
Cool.
Yeah. Tough not to respect that shit. Hell yeah.
I already mentioned Universal Blumhouse spent $400 million just to get the rights to make these movies. And I believe they had to guarantee a trilogy when they bought them. So, like, I think even if this movie just underperforms, I think they have to make 2 more, I believe. So we'll see if that actually
without
pans
David
out.
Gordon Green. Oh man, I really hope that they're just like Asylum Pictures almost. I want them to be that.
That would be more entertaining. I'm sure we all know this. Due to the Taylor Swift's Eras Tour concert film coming out October 13th, The Exorcist was bumped up a full week to release date of October 6th.
They're not trying to compete with that.
Oh yeah, you can,
dude. It would have made
all the Swifties. You know they love to see little girls just slam their mom's face in their crotches. They love that.
God,
it's the greatest. It's a big crossover there.
Well, they'll be sorely disappointed because none of that.
What a
happens in
weird.
this.
Yeah, I know. What a weird like concern. I guess that's going to be that big of a movie. I don't know, man.
Yeah, I believe it. I believe it.
Wow, man.
I guess I just don't see the crossover is really the issue.
I don't think they're worried about capturing that audience. I think they're worried about competing in the theater, like people not carrying their film.
Oh, that could be
that does. More theaters are going to be dedicated to Taylor Swift because a shit ton of people want to go see Taylor Swift.
Okay. I hear you. That makes more sense. Sure.
They're not trying to pull in the Swifties.
I was like, yeah, that's what it was throwing me. I was like, I don't know that you're really going to capture that much of the Swift audience.
No.
I just don't think it's going to happen that way.
The Exorcist is this new trilogy is not going to bring in $1 billion, but Taylor Swift this year is.
Oh yeah,
she's doing.
I mean, yeah,
okay.
Taylor. I know Taylor Swift is the Walter White of music. I understand.
Maybe we can get her on the show.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. That would bump our numbers a little bit.
This is the.
I think that might give us a little boost.
Oh wow,
just a little bit.
Maybe I'll reach out.
Reach out and touch faith.
I cannot wait for the diss track to come out about straight chilling. It's going to be a.
Last bit of trivia I have here is my favorite bit of trivia for this movie. So writer and film critic Ed Whitfield posted on his Twitter and Facebook. This is a quote from William Friedkin, director of the original Exorcist movie. Friedkin once said to me, Ed, the guy who made those new Halloween sequels is about to make one to my movie, The Exorcist. That's right. My signature film is about to be extended by the man who made Pineapple Express. I don't want to be around when that happens, but if there is a spirit world and I can come back, I plan to possess David Gordon Green and make his life a living hell.
My God, nobody hates David Gordon Green more than the directors he has to follow. That is fucking ridiculous.
Friedkin's a salty motherfucker.
I know he
just
is
known to be, and I think that's.
I mean, so is Carpenter. So I mean,
funny.
that's like,
yeah. But if Carpenter gets
why
a
that
check,
piece of shit lied, I don't know.
If Carpenter gets a fat check, he's fine, whatever. But that's some funny shit. That's anyway. That's all the trivia I got. Let's go and jump to our Cooter of the week.
Straight chillin'. Cooter of the week.
Juice, what is a Cooter and why do we hunt them?
Oh, Cooter's character type in a straight chillin' exclusive. Cooter must hit 3 of these 5 points to be considered a Cooter, but we want the Cooter with the most points. The 5 points of Cooterdom are sexual deviance, manipulation, smug arrogance, overall looking attire, and overall patheticness. Boys, is anyone developed enough in this film to be considered a Cooter?
That's my concern. I mean,
David? We going back to David?
It might have to be just out of sheer lack. Like everybody in this movie, to whatever extent there is development for anybody, they're pretty much people.
Catherine's dad is the one that comes to mind for me.
Okay. Yeah. That's one contender. Okay, let's go down the list then. What's your first hit?
He seems smug as fuck when they first meet in the school. He's like very combative.
Yeah.
I would give him smug arrogance for that. I don't know that I would give him manipulation. Can you guys think of anything for that?
Not really. No, he'd have to. I don't think he's packing enough mental heat to manipulate a lot of people.
So. Mental heat. Okay. Pathetic for sure. I think because he caves when everybody made a pact to stick together, and he fucking breaks that, and it leads to his.
It's a tough test, in fairness.
I mean, to be fair, the dude's trying to save his daughter's life.
It's a moment of insane. It's a moment of weakness in a very weak situation for all of them.
Yeah, everybody else is holding up. So by comparison, sure.
Okay.
Yeah. By comparison, I would say is fair.
Yeah.
Looking at Tyre, that dude looks like a dude.
Just a dude-ass dude.
It's like a dude's dude to me.
He's a real dude's dude. That dude has a man cave. You know he does. He's definitely got a microbrew in his basement.
Who doesn't?
Non-men, that's who. I'm sorry, I don't have Tim Allen on the board.
Anyway. There's no sexual deviance, like really at all in this movie.
No. Yeah.
Oh wait, there's the homeless man that shows up just to be a shitty person for one scene.
Dude, I can't remember any of these things.
I don't remember that.
Leslie Odom Jr. goes to a homeless shelter because there's a homeless community living in the woods.
Yeah.
And the homeless guy's like...
the one they interviewed, yeah.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, maybe she's getting a little old and out or whatever. And Leslie tips over the table of this fucking unhoused dude who's living in the fucking woods. Yeah, he doesn't have it bad enough, dude.
I completely forgot about that guy.
Yeah,
because
it doesn't
unnecessary
matter
scene
at all.
No, man, I didn't get the boxing scene. Just forgot a lot of this movie already.
I
Yeah,
don't think.
I don't know. I don't think anybody is developed in any kind of important way.
I don't want to talk about David Gordon Green anymore. Can we just
here anymore?
Yeah. I hope this dude stops making movies so we don't have to talk about him anymore.
I hope he makes more comedies. Make more comedies. Dude.
Yeah,
please
make me laugh, clown.
Not horror comedies.
That'd be fine too. I don't care. As long as if it makes me laugh, that's at least something.
Yeah.
I love a good horror comedy.
Oh fuck.
So are we Cooter free? Is that the way to be?
Yeah, I think we're Cooter free this week.
All right.
Let's jump over what we've been watching. Go straight to our Hotline Screams.
Hotline Scream.
If you are listening and would like to call in and leave a voicemail to be featured on next week's show, hit us up at 904-638-3231. We do have one voicemail this week. We must have thrown up that Hugh Janus signal once again because your boy Hugh did indeed call in once again. So let's hear what Hugh has to say.
It's Hugh calling. I was glad to hear that we now have a Janus signal. And so be ready. I partnered with a woman to be my sidekick. So when the Janus signal appears, the duo of Hugh Janus and Emma Royd are ready for action. So whenever we're needed, put up that Janus signal. I guess you were asking what we would be punished for. Why would we be put in a saw trap? I guess the reason I'd be put in a saw trap is for driving in the left lane with my blinker on because I'm old. I'm so old. When I was a kid, my favorite place to eat was a sandwich shop called Moses and the 10 Condiments.
Oh, that might be.
I think that's it. Yeah.
There's a cutoff there. Yep. There's like 20 seconds of silence on there. Hilarious.
My boy Janus. People have been calling for Janus to have his own segment on this show.
Dude, he could do
Janus, I gotta hear from Emma Royd. I gotta hear from her.
My girl Emma Royd.
How'd she get into the the Janus family?
Legend.
I'm surprised he didn't pair up with his brother Lou Sanus.
My boy Lou Sanus. The comedy trio that we need.
That's the one. America's ready for the lowest common
Hugh
denominator.
Janus, Lou Sanus, and Emma Royd. Coming to a town near you.
Fuck yeah, that's the trio. My God. I love that. I also love that it started turning into an Alan Shimper from Wet Hot American Summer bit at the end. I'm so old. Jesus fucking Christ was my camp director.
Dude, that's it.
Love it.
I'm so old.
So fucking. I love that shit.
We used to do drawings. Cave drawings. That movie's great.
Oh,
and so is our boy Hugh.
Hugh.
Thanks for calling in.
Hugh's a fucking legend. If you want to call in next week and finish up your stand-up routine you were launching into, man, have at it. That's funny shit.
Hugh Janus's Tight Five. It's coming. The tightest five you ever heard.
God damn. Oh, fuck. We're, if you want to call in next week, hit us up, 904-638-3231. You guys have any prompts you want to throw out? I know we were asking about like Halloween related stuff last week.
Dump your David Gordon Green hatred, purge it from your system.
Or love.
Give it to us.
I say, if you love this movie, call in and let us know why you like it.
Dump your hate for us for dissing David Gordon Green on this episode. Do that.
Yeah, that works too.
We can take it. Just don't do it on iTunes.
Now, I believe this is going to be relevant to next week's episode, but I was going to say call in with your favorite Halloween specials, the one you kind of go to often. There's at this point, there's a lot to go through, whether it be a regular show, having a Halloween episode, or
that's what I'm curious about.
Yeah, special TV special that drop and stuff like that. There was a lot more back in the day, but they still drop some, specials. What's your favorite, like specifically Halloween special?
I like that.
Let us know.
I got one for Bob. Roseanne.
Dude,
any Halloween Roseanne.
They start to get a little stale, but I do love the first, first three specifically are fucking great, and also that Pete and Pete Halloweenies episode. Dude,
I was gonna say the Pete and Pete episode. Fucking Endless Mike. That dude just don't end.
I know. There's no end.
I love that shit. I love the Hey Arnold Halloween episode.
I've been going through some of the Bob's Burgers this week since we skipped what you've been watching.
Yeah.
I did some of those. They got good Halloween episodes. Yeah,
they do. Really good.
Modern Family has some solid Halloween episodes.
They do. The first like 2 or 3 that I've seen like 4 seasons of that show, and like the first 2 or 3 I think have a Halloween episode, and all of them.
They stopped doing it every year, so they don't have one for every season, but they do. Yeah, they've got some good ones, especially earlier. Yeah,
some good shit.
So that prompt does play into next week, Juice, as you were alluding to. Cool. So for next week's show, we're doing something a little bit different. We haven't done this exactly. We're calling it our Tricks and Treats.
I'm an executive by day and a wild man by night.
Wild man.
Wait, one more time, Bob.
What
is it called?
Our Tricks and Treats episode. So where in the past couple years we have been talking about specifically Simpsons Treehouse of Horrors episodes. We chose 3 Halloween TV specials to talk about, and they are all animated. We're talking about it's The Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown from 1966.
Pumpkins.
We're also talking about the Bugs Bunny Halloween special from 1972, I think.
That's the Halloween special.
Howloween, Howl. Yeah.
Thank you.
And last but not least, we're talking about The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, the animated short from 1949.
Nice.
Yeah.
Switching it up. Special episode.
Something a little different.
I'm pretty psyched. I like getting these animated specials in for sure. We still got our Treehouse in as well with our bonus episodes. So.
Got to double dip this year.
We got the double dip, and all it cost us was more time and effort.
That's it.
Nothing more.
I like this idea too. It kind of opens us up to explore like the very large, like wide realm of Halloween special. There's so many. Like we could take it so many different directions.
Oh my God. We could easily do an episode of 6 and not even scratch the surface.
And it would just
crazy.
take more time and effort. That's it.
Just next year, we'll just have to do more than 3.
4 triple features.
Let's start doing 2 episodes a week.
Yeah.
Actually, this week's prompt is you just giving us ideas for next year.
It's really,
do our work for us.
What should we talk about?
Pitch us some ideas, and then we will hire you for no money to do it for us. Thank you.
Also, write articles on our website. Also, no
for
money.
Free. You'll love it.
Yeah, no, I'm living in a nightmare.
So watch those 3 shorts. Get ready for next week's show. I don't know. I did not look to see if they were streaming anywhere specifically, and I apologize for that. I know Charlie Brown is on Apple Plus. Plus.
Apple TV,
And I
yep.
think that's it. You might have to pay for
If
it. elsewhere.
anything, Sleepy Hollow might be on Disney Plus. Mine's
I think
different
it
'cause
is
of
on Disney
Korea.
Plus. I could
Okay.
be
That makes
wrong,
sense.
but I'm pretty sure it is. And I think I'm like 90% sure that I saw Bugs Bunny's Halloween special just on YouTube. I don't know where the official channel is to watch that, but I think it's on there.
Yeah. Watch
So-
that.
Also, too,
Find the official channel.
Yeah.
I did see Sleepy Hollow on YouTube as well. I did see it on
okay.
YouTube.
Okay.
We can throw some.
But we don't
links
support,
up if we,
of course.
Oh,
Yeah.
well,
No, we can't.
Nope. No links.
Kathy
are going
from
up.
HR will lay an egg.
But it sounds like they are all relatively easy to find, bottom line.
Yeah.
So, yeah, check those out. Get ready for next week's show. Until then, hit us up on all of our social media outlets. Just search Straight Chilling Podcast and you will find us. If you want to join in our daily Slack channel conversations, hit us up on one of those social media outlets and I'll send you a link so you can join in on the fun. Spooky season is a good time to join. We had some fresh blood join us here recently, and it's been fun. Like, we've been talking about every fucking Saw movie in the entire franchise. It's been a wild ride.
So many.
Rehashing all those. And yeah, don't forget about our Chilloween party this Friday the 13th. Come hang out with us. And until next week, as always, all you mother truckers, please keep chilling.
Gather round, all you ghastly ghouls, and kick off this Halloween season with scary good music and even scarier movies. Monster House Records is a brand new vinyl record retailer specializing in punk rock music and horror movie memorabilia. Located in the heart of Sanford, Florida, they boast a wide array of physical media, including vinyl records, cassette tapes, CDs, VHS, Laserdisc, and more. You can also find vintage tees, books, and plenty of toys. Come for the music, stay for the chills and thrills at the Monster House Records. Be sure to follow them at Monster House ORL or visit them on their website at monsterhouserecords.com.